Nemo Radio is on the air.
A, B, C. A, always B, B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only. Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
Hey, it's John Nemo. Welcome back to another episode of Nemo Radio. So excited to share this story with you. It started with a pair of shoes, and it led me into just this labyrinth of just mind-blowing opportunities that all revolve around artificial intelligence or AI and ChatGPT and all the different tools, Claude, whatever it is. So let me explain the story and let me illustrate the power of this tool, and then let me tie it back to business and really understand the opportunity that you and I have. And so basically, my wife came to me and said, hey, one of our kids, like, look at their shoes. Like, something's going on here with the way the shoes are getting worn. Like, certain parts of the heel of his shoe were worn down to like almost had holes in them, and other parts were fine, like had tread on them. And she's like, yeah, we got to get him a new pair of shoes, and he probably needs to go see a podiatrist, or he needs to, go to a running store and get like a, gait analysis where they evaluate how you walk and all these things. And I was like, no, actually, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT. She's like, what? So I literally picked up the shoes, took a photo of them on my iPhone, uploaded it into ChatGPT on the app, and basically said, hey, and I just voice texted, said to ChatGPT, analyze these shoes. Tell me why they're being, why they look this way. And it said, okay. And it looked at just a picture of shoes, and ChatGPT said, oh, it looks like the person using these shoes, is doing what's called overpronating or overpronation, meaning they walk in such a way where their foot rolls and it's, rolling more on the heel and blah, blah, blah. And that's why the shoes are worn, this way. And then ChatGPT went on to say, here are the common causes of it. Here are the common solutions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And it was like, 1, you can go to a running store and get your gait analyzed. 2, you can buy certain types of shoes that, will fix it. Or 3, you can go see a podiatrist. 4, you can do this. And then I just said, I want to get new shoes. Recommend the best brands for overpronating. And instantly it listed out, here's the exact brands ranked in order of most to least effective based on customer reviews and data. ASICS, this model, New Balance, this model, whatever. So within 2 seconds, I went on Zappos, which is you can order shoes online, right? They've been around forever. Just copied and pasted in the shoe brand, the number one ranked one, found my kid's size and hit order, and it's magically getting delivered to my door, right? So within 60 seconds, I think about all the steps I saved. 1, I would have had to pack up the shoes and pack up my kid, drive however long it takes to go to a running store. I have to wait because I have to make sure the running store is open. When I get to the running store, I may have to wait in line. I may have to wait for an associate. They may not have an expert there who knows this. Then I have to have that person analyze the situation by looking at the shoes and watching my kid walk. Then I have to trust the judgment of that person of, okay, is their analysis correct? Are they, biased? Are they unbiased? Are they an expert? Do they have expertise? And then I have to say, what are they suggesting as solutions? Are they just going to suggest anything and everything, no matter what? Or are they just going to try to shove me into a certain, $500 running shoe that they want to sell more of because they're business oriented, right? Or if I wanted to do the podiatrist route and wait for appointments and then stand in line, buy the shoes, whatever, drive home. Oh, the shoes don't fit, whatever, go back or return, wait in line. As opposed to with AI and technology now, literally uploading a photo of shoes, 60 seconds later, I had the solution and had new shoes ordered to fix the problem. That's the era we're living in now. I'll give you another example of how powerful this is because I didn't realize people don't know this with AI if you're not experimenting with it. You can literally upload a legal contract or a proposal for services into ChatGPT, and you can say to it, act as my attorney. I'm this party in the agreement that I've attached. Please look out for me. Explain in layman terms what I'm agreeing to. Explain in simple terms, what I'm going to get out of this. And also tell me from your point of view as my legal expert, are there any red flags or things I should be worried about? And it will literally read a how many ever page PDF filled with legalese and spit out the answer. Go, hey, this is a basic services agreement to provide this. What you're saying is you're willing to pay this and you're going to get that in return. As far as red flags, please know they don't have a refund policy, or they don't have this, or they blah, 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 or you're open to getting sued if this happens. Like, it'll tell you all that stuff. And then you can say to ChatGPT, okay, now rewrite those sections of the contract in my favor using the appropriate legal terminology. It will instantly rewrite those. You can copy and paste those and send those back to the person and say, change the proposal. Here's my legalese, right? As opposed to, I have to find an attorney. Who's an attorney I can trust? Are they available? How much do they cost, right, for hourly? How much time will it take them to get to it? Do I have to wait for them to get to it? How much time will it take and how much money will it take for them to read it and review it? Then will I have to wait longer and pay more money to have them rewrite those sections? Can I trust their advice? Right? All of that's gone, right? So I told my friend who's an attorney, who's one of my best friends, who used to do this for me with contracts. I'm like, you're fired. I don't need you. And he laughed. He's like, I know, man. He goes, it's insane how good it is. Right. And obviously, you want to always test it if you don't feel safe with it. And again, I'm not here to say ChatGPT is infallible, but I will say my experience with it is I'll put up the whole of the internet and humankind against one other attorney or one shoe salesman as far as expertise, right? And the fact that ChatGPT doesn't have a dog in the fight, it's unbiased. It doesn't care. Like, it doesn't have a affiliate partnership with ASICS and New Balance to recommend their shoes over someone else for overpronating for my kid. It's just instantly can scan the internet and go, what are the best shoes? I'm going to do Google searches and review and validate and blah, 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 right? It's insane how powerful this is. Like, one other example with food, you can literally take a picture of what's in your refrigerator and say to ChatGPT, again, just show it a photo. Here's what's in my fridge. Give me 3 meal ideas for tonight for dinner. And then it'll be like, oh, you can make this, this, and this. Here's the recipes. Here's the portions. Preheat the oven to this. Do that. Blah, 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 blah. Here's more info. So we're literally living in that era. And I don't think people fully grasp this. And so I wanted to share that as just an example, because if you're not embracing technology, if you're not embracing these trends, you're really going to evaporate. You're going to be irrelevant. So I think if I stop and pause for a second, and I did an email about this recently, but in my career, I started my professional career in 1997. So I graduated college with a degree in print journalism. Remember printed newspapers? That was me. I worked for the Arizona Republic as a print newspaper reporter, wrote stories, right? All that stuff. All the things that have been added since 1997, just off the top of my head. Internet, right? Internet at scale. I started with the dial-up, over a wired landline phone cord. So internet, email, cell phones. When I started, we didn't have cell phones. We had pagers, and you had to go to a payphone and call back whatever number paged you, right? So internet, cell phone, pagers, and then you get social media. Then you get, video online. You get self-publishing online. I've published 8 different books, right? It used to be you needed a publisher. Podcasting, audio online. Right now, you communicate with anyone anywhere in the world with audio and video. You're literally listening to a podcast, listening to my voice. When I started my career, I would have had to go to a radio station and buy advertising space, or get a radio show somehow, and it would only reach a limited amount of people in a metropolitan area. Now I can reach the entire world instantly for free with audio just by clicking a button. So again, so much has changed. And yet I still see people struggling with old school thinking methods, old school business methods. And I think part of it is just the people that I've seen being the most successful in life and in business are lifelong learners. And I grew up under a pair of those because both my parents were teachers, and we literally had a basement lined floor to ceiling with books. That was our whole basement. Like 3 of the walls were just all books. I never read a single one of them because I was playing Atari and Nintendo, right, growing up. But later in life, I really got into reading. And that's really been such a game changer, along with just technology and playing with it and experimenting with it. So even in the mid 2000s, when videos first started going online, I made a video resume. So when I was applying for corporate jobs in 2008, 2009, 2010, I was sending a video resume, which no other candidate did, which meant everyone looked at my stuff out of curiosity. And so where does that apply today? is you can do that at scale in so many different ways, whether it's on LinkedIn, where I do obviously a lot with LinkedIn lead generation, but also with AI. And really one of the big benefits you can use it for with work is saying, act as my blank, and you give it an identity. Act as my business coach, act as my attorney, act as my personal chef, act as my life coach, act as my business advisor with a niche focus in franchise ownership. Go on, do research and tell me what are the biggest challenges my prospects face around this topic. List them out, write up a marketing plan, right? And I think the more you play with ChatGPT, the more you understand the ability for it to take super complex random topics, boil it down into simple kind of things you can understand. The more you can understand the psychology behind how to engage with people, now you can do that at speed and in a task and in a way where you couldn't before. So I think, how does this impact all of us in business? I think one of the biggest things is expertise now. Subject matter expertise is way, way overrated. That's going to really fall by the wayside. So you got a PhD, you got this certification, you're known for having 30 years of experience, blah, blah, blah. No one cares. Sorry. But again, ChatGPT gave me, I'll give you another example from medical just to show you, right? Being a doctor. And so one of my kids had an x-ray, right? And then another kid had to get a medical report with he had a heartbeat thing, right? What I was able to do, depending on how much time the doctor would give me, or versus the doctor would just send like a patient report. What you can do with ChatGPT is they sent the patient report with all the heart test stuff. And by the way, my kid's fine. But they sent it, and I just took the PDF, uploaded it into ChatGPT, and said, hey, act as a medical expert around heart issues. Please read the attached medical report and explain to me in layman terms what it means. Is there anything to be alarmed about? Is there anything different my kid needs to do? And I was like, okay, they did this. This is standard. This is normal. This means this. This means that. Basically, overall, there's nothing to worry about because it says this, da-da-da-da. Or you can upload the x-ray and say, hey, analyze this x-ray, act as an orthopedist, tell me what you're seeing. And they'll be like, oh, it looks like you have a small metatarsal fracture in the third finger. What does that mean? Your pinky finger's broken. What's the recommended treatment? Isolate it. My kid is 8. What should I do? And it'll literally act like your doctor. So it's like we're now in that era where just because you're an expert, you've got to pivot to understanding how to leverage your expertise. So doesn't mean you're not still valuable, but I think once people figure out at scale, you can't hold that over them anymore. Do you know what I mean? Once you're like, well, I'm only going to, I have all the knowledge on this topic and I'm the expert and you have to wait in line to talk to me or you have to pay me to talk to me to get my expertise, they're not going to do that anymore. Once it's kind of like when Google was invented. That's another change in my career. Once Google was invented, the library became obsolete. Growing up, you had to go to the library, you had to talk to the librarian, go to the card catalog, look up a reference book, and try to figure out how to do something. Now you go on Google or YouTube, and you can instantly have answers and demo videos and educational courses, right? So I think expertise, it's not irrelevant, but you've got to understand how to market it better. And I think where I'm really headed is personal brand is now paramount, meaning you've got to put your personal brand front and center because at the end of the day, we're still going to do business with people. As much as we love ChatGPT and Google and everything else, we're still going to need a service provider, a vendor, a coach, a consultant, a partner, a banker, whatever it is. But we're now going to pick that less on expertise and subject matter insight and more on how we feel. And do we have a personal connection? Do we enjoy that person? Do we feel like they have our best interest at heart? Are they approachable, likable, transparent, authentic, etc.? So I think that's where your personal content really comes into play, your personal brand. So sharing more of your story online. Again, the methodology I use for this is business lesson plus personal story is the content, or personal story that illustrates a business lesson is content. Because when you tell personal stories, people get to know, like, and trust you. So about your family, your dog, work, passions, biking, skiing, kayaking, flying, whatever it is you do, and then tying it to some sort of business lesson in your world, people are like, oh, you demonstrated expertise, you educated me, you are a subject matter expert, and I loved your story. I love the fact that you're a dog person, you took your dog on a walk, you ran into this situation that illustrates this concept from our industry. That was really clever. I'm going to follow you and pay attention to you because I like you. and I can learn from you, right? Same with trying to educate people and saying, like, listen, did you know you can do these things with ChatGPT in our industry? I want to provide you value and help you save time, money, effort, and energy by showing you how to use ChatGPT to analyze your legal contracts. Why do you still need a lawyer? Because you still need somebody who's human to look over the suggestions to make sure. And ChatGPT will have disclaimers and say, listen, you should still consult an attorney if you're not sure. So like, you could be a contract attorney and say, hey, that's awesome. Like, if you're going to use ChatGPT, here's what I recommend. End of the day, I actually have a service where if you want, instead of paying me my normal hourly rate, I can actually use ChatGPT for you and you pay a fraction of that. But I will personally look over the results to make sure it's giving good advice. So rather than me reading it all, like, you can find ways to leverage it to your advantage. And I think that's going to be the key. I think that's where we're headed. So it's fascinating. It's fun. I'd love to know what you use it for. If you use AI a lot or ChatGPT a lot in business, I would love to hear from you. So email me, John, JOHN at nemomediagroup.com, or just, tag me on LinkedIn, something like that. Let me know how you're using it. I did a post about this the other day and tons of people were sharing ideas, insights, etc. And I think it's only going to get easier. Like, the advancements with AI are crazy, where the next thing coming is you can basically be having a conversation with someone in China and they're speaking Chinese, and ChatGPT, if you're doing it through the app, it can listen and translate the Chinese audio from the other person into English for you. And then you can answer in English and it'll spit it back to the person almost in real time in Chinese. Like, that's happening, real-time translation. You can have it analyzing things like, tone of voice or, real-time video, like, hey, what are you seeing in this picture? What landmark is that? Tell me more about it. And it can say, oh, that's the Statue of Liberty. Here's all the history on it. Like, it's crazy where we're headed. And I just wanted to make this because, from a simple thing like getting a new pair of shoes to legal contracts, medical advice, cooking, business, all those things, like, it's just, we're living through another insane kind of revolutionary period in life and business, similar to when the internet came up, similar to when the printing press was invented, similar to when TV and radio came on, telephones. Like, this is probably going to be bigger than all of that. It's going to change everyday life. So with all that said, I'd love to hear your thoughts. John at nemomediagroup.com. Thanks again for listening so much. We'll see you soon on another episode.